Well, welcome to Signs of Life, the show where we find hope in the headlines.
Why are you yelling?
Wait a second. You can't just start off the show and not talk about your mustache right now.
What about it?
It's new, man.
It's magical.
It is magical.
It's the best thing I've ever seen.
I found hope on my face, as well as the headlines.
So Chase shaved his beard,
Yep.
Josiah
kept the
did
mustache.
Not.
I did not.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
How do you feel?
I feel good. Okay, so I've done this before. You have not.
I have not done this, no.
One time you did it on accident.
You've done.
I've shaved, but I haven't kept the stash.
Oh, okay.
I've shaved all of it, grown it back. It's a whole deal. But I actually...
You like it.
I think I like it.
I like it.
I don't think it looks as bad as like Serena thinks.
No, I
but
think it looks good.
I think it's okay.
Personally, I love it.
I think
I
it's
also
okay.
feel like you look like you're 27.
What makes you think
Oh,
Serena
yeah, I'll
doesn't
take that.
like it?
Could have been her reaction of,
Disgust.
it actually doesn't. That's exactly what she said. When I said, I think it actually looks okay.
She said it actually
I
doesn't.
said, actually it doesn't.
What makes you think she don't like it? When she said she doesn't like it.
Yeah.
when she
So,
hated it. No,
but
it's okay.
here's the deal.
It grows
Stash. It's my Top Gun stash. You know, thinking about Top Gun, thinking about America. We celebrated July 4th.
We did
Just a
celebrate.
few days ago, and so this feels
July
like an
4th.
American stash right here.
That is an American stash.
I'm American, so
So it's perfect.
it's perfect. It makes sense.
Love it.
Do you know what other countries have July 4th?
Every other country. Doo-doo.
I just thought, with your stash, that'd be a great dad joke.
Oh,
was a
you are
good
very
one.
dead.
Well, it is growing on me, so
You know what's
saving that one
the
too.
best thing about this is beards grow back.
That's true.
So it's not permanent.
So they're trying to get me to shave my beard.
I think you should.
It's not
It ain't.
forever.
It's not gonna happen. Because of the. You ever read the story of Samson?
Oh
No.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
That-
That was his hair.
it's the same.
What you don't
Same concept.
have. Wow.
Wow.
Is it?
It
let's,
is.
Let's test it out. Let's see.
It's not.
Okay.
Find out.
Delilah.
Anyways, what'd you guys do for the 4th of July?
Man, we had a pretty good weekend. We swam and shot fireworks like every other American.
Good.
But it was the first 4th of July my kids shot fireworks and watched fireworks and all that. So we were able to see some from our backyard. So we had fun. I had my little girl Scout, who's 4, had her shooting Roman candles.
Nice.
Nice.
She loved it.
Now, what did Owen say the 4th of July
Oh
was
yes.
to
Oh yeah,
celebrate?
yeah. Owen asked if the 4th of July was to celebrate Jesus' 4th birthday.
There you go.
Oh, that's so,
So
great.
I thought that was
good Christian
cute.
kid right
that
there.
pastor's kid is what
yeah,
that is.
at its finest.
Yeah.
To celebrate Jesus' 4th birthday.
Why not? Very
Yeah.
specific birthday to celebrate.
Fourth.
But
Yeah. Well, because we always,
course.
Christmas and Easter, we try to tie it back to Jesus with our kids, and so
We try to. It's
we
a bit of a
totally-
stretch,
what it is.
but we try.
It is what it is. But so we were telling them, it's the independence of America, and we're celebrating our freedom and all that.
and all that.
And he
Freedom
said,
and-
"But is it really,
He's like,
about
"But where's the
Jesus'
Jesus
4th
part?"
birthday?" Because,
Did you say yeah?
yeah, I mean, why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Sure.
Let's go with it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
For sure.
Why not? Yeah,
sure.
I mean, it's crazy to see a lot of different opinions on the 4th of July this year,
Yeah.
specifically.
Yeah, we were talking about how it's kind of an unprecedented year, and we were not laughing, but ironically laughing that 20 years ago, no one would have ever debated about the 4th of July, and everybody, it was the most unifying holiday.
Toby Keith song.
We were listening
Which
to
I think
Toby
was
Keith.
actually like 20 years ago.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
it was, yeah.
Hey, Uncle Sam, put your name
At the top of his list, and the Statue of Liberty started shaking her face. The whole
Man, it's like eagles
Eagle will
flying.
fly.
and
Yeah.
pew, pew. It's like so American
So
right there.
I had
American.
that CD.
You did?
I did too.
I think that may have been one of my first CDs. That in Lincoln Park.
There you go.
Great one. Destiny's Child, volume number 3 was my first CD.
Oh wow!
Not number 4.
My number 4.
So we're like that was a very unifying time, and like you can with the CDs you can hear the crowd in the background
Yeah.
just like roaring, just so excited about America and. So right, wrong, or indifferent, that's not really the world we live in now.
True.
Very
True.
different.
Kind of, division, and people like are hating on the 4th of July,
Yeah,
and they're
big time.
debating like whether it's whether we even have freedom in this country or not. Which you made a great point. I mean, you got to take it all with a grain of salt because
Yeah. Yeah.
you compare it to another country. and
Literally,
you do.
like, I don't know. I saw a lot of posts about it, and it's like, okay, no matter which side you kind of fall on, hard to ignore that we're not in like a literal war zone right now, and like the fact that we can even talk about this
Yeah.
is something that potentially could be taken for granted a little bit.
Yeah, like
at
the
times,
freedom
and-
to not celebrate, like the
Right.
freedom to
And not
to
get persecuted
disagree
for
or
it.
speak out. Exactly. Yeah.
It's just like,
Yeah.
okay, that's you. That you do you.
So it's all relative,
Yeah, it's all relative. for
right?
sure.
I mean, it's how much freedom do you have? How much freedom do we have? And I don't know. I mean, I obviously, we can probably debate on which side we fall on whether we should celebrate the 4th of July or not celebrate the 4th of July. I think that what's interesting, though, is we really tend to focus on the negative things.
Yeah.
And so even if you're against celebrating the 4th of July, we have this tendency to really hone in on what is wrong with our country, what is wrong with our society and our nation and culture and all that other stuff. And so that's what I find interesting
Yeah.
is people's what they call negative biased. It's like no matter how good you might have it, which again can be debatable. I mean,
Yeah, relative still.
yeah, it's still relative, but however good you have it, we have a tendency to think about the things that are going wrong in our life, the things that are wrong with our country, with our government. Even if it's true,
Yeah.
we still have a tendency just to focus in on that negative and to have a negative bias, which I just think is really interesting. And I think it's true that we do that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's easier if I were to ask you, hey, what's going bad right now? What's wrong in your life today? You would pop off a couple different quick
Totally,
answers.
man.
If I said, hey, what's good? You may have one, and then you'd be like, oh, let me think about the rest of
Yeah.
it. And I do. It's like as you talk about negative bias, I'm just thinking for myself, even thinking about like the wrong things, they can be really, really minor. But it's easy for that to be something that takes a lot of my energy.
Yeah.
Where like even the good things, like this, I just look outside and it's like my vehicle runs and I get to drive on a concrete road
Yeah. Right.
that's pretty nice, not a whole lot of holes.
Yeah.
Like that's a good thing.
But
Those
then
are great
everybody
things.
is focused on gas prices being, but gas
Yeah,
prices.
right.
Exactly,
are high.
and exactly, and I got to pay for gas for my vehicle, and I need to get an oil change, and are these tires going bad? Like it's so easy, no matter how big or small the negative thing can be, to focus in on it, even if there's really good positive things going on. And I think that's such an opportunity, like you said, of paying attention to that and trying. And it's not ignoring those things because those are oftentimes opportunities to change and make
Right.
things
Yeah,
better.
yeah.
But
actually,
what
man,
takes your energy?
It's actually really, it's something we have to fight against because it's a human instinct to focus on the negative. I was watching, I don't remember if it was a TED Talk or something about where this comes from of wanting to focus on the negative. And you take it way back to like hunting and gathering days and survival of the fittest days and cavemen coming out. It's like you were walking outside and you had to be aware, okay, what can kill me? What's all the bad things going on? Man, there's a giant, velociraptor, I don't know, whatever. There's a lot, there's a huge rock that, whatever it is,
that might attack me.
there's an enemy on the other side.
Yeah.
It's like you're just trying to survive.
Yeah.
And so it's literally a human instinct that's built in us to walk outside of our homes and go, okay, what's wrong with the world? Because I'm trying to protect myself. I think it comes from a good place of safety and protection. Man, you're trying to protect yourself, trying to keep yourself safe. But obviously, when you live in a world that we live in, which is, again, relatively safe,
Yeah.
I understand there's debate around what that means, but like we're not driving to work wondering if a mortar is going to hit our car or not.
Yeah.
That because we are relatively safe, like we have to fight against that.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, what are the good things?
And I think, like you're saying, because of that safety, it is easy to get focused on the minor negative things that
Right.
are like, I remember the first world problem term that came out and just, it was kind of like real, but also kind of funny because it's like, yes, like most of the things, and like, let me just ask you guys, think about it for a second. Like, what's the thing you complained about last? Like the last thing you complained about? Most of the things I complain about are so minor. They're not a safety issue.
Yeah.
They're a comfort thing.
I'll tell you what, I was this morning, I was like kind of internally complained about the price of my Starbucks coffee. Like how first world is, I mean, really,
Yeah.
I was like, man, that's expensive, and as I was thinking,
Like, but I'm still gonna buy it.
I'm buying a Starbucks
I'm buying
coffee.
coffee.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that, I mean,
Yeah.
we do it all the
What
time.
about you?
My car radio, like, will sometimes stop
Your
working.
car radio.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
car radio.
Okay.
Like a car phone, but a car radio. It will just stop working. The Bluetooth will shut off and it'll take
The
like,
Bluetooth that connects to your cell phone.
What's
a
I just want to get
car
all of this
car
right.
phone. You know, a phone back in the day you had in your car.
Like cell phone?
Back in the day.
Back in the day you had it.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So you have a car, you have
And
a
a cell
phone
phone that has
for your car to
Bluetooth.
connect to.
Yep.
But it doesn't. It stops working.
It
sometimes.
stops working every like 4 or 5 songs, and then it does this hard reset.
I am
And
so sorry.
it made
I am
me
so
Thank
sorry.
you. Thank you.
And it's probably so distracting that when it stops, you almost drive off the road. You're like,
No, worse, I'm just in the middle of a song having a good old time, and then I'm like, well, there goes my day. Ruined.
There's a,
I just want to recognize that's so bad. I'm so sorry. Go ahead, just
Appreciate
there's a
that.
philosophy camp that came out, was founded by a guy named Zeno in,
a philosophy camp.
Like-
Okay,
a
summer
like
camp.
philosophical camp.
Okay.
Like a
Like a
train
summer
of
camp.
thought. No.
Like you
Oh,
bring
okay.
your sleeping bag,
no.
your swimsuit.
Oh, wow.
Your,
Okay.
what color are you?
I don't know if I
A
this
philosophy camp.
conversation, might be a little bit.
Above our
Above your-
intelligence.
Can you put it into summer camp terms?
Yeah, so there's a summer camp that was founded in 3rd century by this guy named Zeno, and it was basically, the whole thing was built around how practice is better than theory, right? And which was really controversial to like Plato and Socrates at the time, because they were all about in theory. And it became really popular during the time of Jesus, and it's called the Stoic philosophy. And there's a thought in this philosophy that's called the dichotomy of control. And it talks about how you have a better life, your quality of life is better if you focus on the things that you can control and the things that are that opposed to focusing on things that you can't control, right? And so when I was reading through that, and I just thought, like, what a lot of times I complain about things I have no control over, right? It's the negative things I have no control over are the things I spend my time thinking about. And I just thought, man, what if I shifted my mind to only the positive things that I can control? So, man, today I'm going to work. I'm going to have a great day at work. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And so,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, I heard a quote. I can't remember who said it, but the quote of basically life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I react to it.
Right.
Like there are things that you even down to your emotional reactions, responses, and thoughts to situations that are entirely in your control.
Right.
And I think that's why when you get to a place where they're constantly unhealthy, then, we've talked about it a lot on the show, like, talk to someone, like, get help in that area. But typically, like you're saying, the idea of choosing how I'm going to react, respond to something is going to make my life better because it shows the real authority that I have in my life. And I think about authority, that word, and what that looks like. Like, I really do look at the life of Jesus and the authority that he had, that he gave us through his Spirit.
Yeah.
And this idea that as a follower of Jesus, as a believer, like, I have authority, not necessarily to go and, change the laws and, run my own country, but like, I have the authority over my life and the things around me to make things good, to focus on the good, to respond
Or
to
just to
things
have a
well.
good attitude.
Exactly,
right? And
yeah.
that to me was the point of this study was it's you have the choice whether to have a positive attitude or a negative attitude, to focus on the good or focus on the bad.
Yeah.
A lot of times we feel like we're victims to all the bad things. Well, I don't have a choice on whether the gas prices are high or not. You know, that's just is what it, I don't have a choice that my Starbucks coffee was $7. And so I have the right to be negative about that. Well, you may not have a choice in what the gas prices are, but you have a choice on whether you're going to focus on that negative or focus on the positive.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I mean, I really think about, like, we talk about, like, what does the kingdom of God look like for us right now? Like, here on earth, how do we live out the kingdom? And, you know, joy, peace, love, like, those things can be controlled by our perspective on things so often. And it's like, yeah, maybe it is actually easier to have peace in our life than we think about it, because, yeah, we're focusing on this external circumstances that are happening all the time, and it doesn't help that the news is constantly filled with bad things, and doesn't mean that those bad things aren't bad. Like,
Yeah.
those things can still be true, but, you know, how I'm choosing to react, how I'm choosing to respond, what's happening
Exactly.
internally makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I think about Good News Movement is an Instagram page that I follow, and they basically, their whole thing is posting like good news.
Yeah.
And so it's stories of people being generous, of people helping others, of good things happening. And I like to follow it because it gives a balance from, you know, the big news networks that we know that are built to keep you watching because things are so bad and the world is burning.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, now in saying all of that, I think we, you know, it'd be wrong of us to ignore the tension then when something does happen to us that's bad, that's traumatic. How do we battle against just ignoring the negative or ignoring what's happened? Because that can get you in trouble too.
Yeah.
So what does it look like when, you know, when you do blow a tire, when you do get in an accident, when an unexpected bill comes, whatever it might be, a mortar hits your city. Like, how do we, I guess, pay attention to that tension? How do we pay attention to the pain that we might feel, but still turn our thoughts positive?
Well, to me, there's a huge difference between recognizing and dwelling, you know?
Okay.
It's like recognizing something bad happened in your life versus dwelling on that thing and letting it overtake every part of your being. And I think that part of the trick is to quickly begin to think about how you're going to overcome whatever challenge that is. And so you use the flat tire illustration. I can sit there, and we do this in life, I can sit there and mourn that I have a flat tire for hours and hours and hours. Or I can recognize I have a flat tire and begin to think about how I'm going to overcome that challenge and then move on with my life, you know? And that's living in a reality, but not letting something negative overtake you in such a way. And so, and I think about, I mean, there's so many different illustrations you can use. Maybe something closer to home is, you know, you're dealing with marriage issues. Well, you can sit around and think about how badly your spouse sucks for years and years and years and years, right? Or,
Not our spouses.
Not our
Yeah,
spouses.
yeah.
But just in general, and build this resentment up and dwell on their shortfalls and dwell on the issues that you guys are having. Or you can recognize that there's a disconnect there, begin to think about overcoming that, and then move on, right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, pick a challenge, and
Yeah.
I can give you an illustration in that way. And so, I think it's about just moving forward.
That's good.
Yeah, I think I've learned a lot recently about what it looks like to feel your feelings. We talked about that a
What's that like?
few episodes. I know, right? It's hard to believe that it could be. But I know we mentioned this a while back, a couple months ago, on what that practically looks like. But like, I've been learning to sit with that more, and for me it means being in silence, being, you know, alone, and just allowing my brain to process whatever that means. And sometimes I think, you know, not to disagree with you, but it can mean slowing down and not being quick to say, because my tendency is to just say like, oh, it's fine, let's just forget about it, let's move on.
Yeah, I guess that is the other side of all that, right?
Yeah. And so it's like, okay, let me sit, let me not rush my brain because I think I should get over this in time, or I shouldn't be thinking about this anymore. There's so much good happening in, that's kind of that toxic side of let me just move on. But it's giving yourself enough time to process and think through. But there is that second action of like, okay, now what am I going to do?
Yeah.
How am I going to respond to this?
And you didn't say this, but I think the underlying thing here too is the church has had a tendency, and believers, Christians have had a tendency to be toxic in this nature because, and it's one of my favorite verses, so it's like, well, God uses all things for the good of those who love him, so it's going to all be turned for good. Yeah. And it's like, yes, but that's not always helpful in the middle of someone bleeding, like in the middle of that moment.
Well,
and
so
the
way God turns things for good is through people, and it's like, yes, that's true, but he's trying to use you to make it good.
Yeah,
and so, like, it's not sitting around going, oh, God's going to make it good for good. It's like, no. You're the one who's supposed to make it good.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times and as we talk about just statistically, younger generations kind of leaving, organized churches, local churches, we're a part of one, we love it, and not, for a spiritual faith growing, sure, but even just community. Yeah. And, the thing though, like y'all are saying, is like recognizing it, but also being a part of the solution too. Like that's really what the church should be about.
It's really dangerous to like rally around the things that are wrong and the negative, but it's easier to do that. And we kind of like to do that because it makes us feel empowered and not alone. And Ross kind of talked about that this past Sunday with community disgust, I think is what he talked about. And how we kind of rally around the all being disgusted over something or someone. And I think that the church in general is just, we've done a bad job of being more forthcoming with what we're against and what we don't like and what we hate and what we're disgusted by, and finding unity in that rather than finding unity in Christ and what can be and what we should be aiming for. So,
yeah. And I think that idea of what we're aiming for, like what we are for, what we support, like you said, it's easy. Anger is such an easy emotion to blow up. I think it grows exponentially, and then it grows, the mob mentality, it grows when there's a lot of it as well. It's hard to, I think, get as passionate about something good. Like, I love that we were just so generous today. It was great, everyone. Like that we just don't say that. And I think it's because it's when you give, when you serve, when you do something outside of yourself, you are denying yourself. It's taking life from you. But and the long game of that is that it is better. And there's this slower pace of life. There's this peace that's in that. But it's not an instant feel-good thing. It's not just this instant gratification of, I love doing that. Because I think what's most important, what matters most, is the long game. It's like when you plant those seeds, when you serve, when you give something, it opens a door for a longer relationship where anger can be really quick and easy. It can be, like you said, oh, I hate that. You hate that too. Let's hate it together. But like that's it. Okay, great. You're done. You hated it. Now what? Where when you focus on the good, you're focusing on building something that lasts. And that takes time and takes a lot of energy, but in the long run, it is better. And you do find a community, you find a group of people that you get to enjoy life with and celebrate and mourn together. And like, that sounds a lot like the church that Jesus calls us to be and to grow and to build together. Yeah.
So the challenge for us personally is, how can we spend more time focusing on the positive things, right?
Yep.
I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And I thought, I'm trying to do this. I'm not very good at it, but I'm trying to start my morning off focusing on positive things, and I have a little list. Things that are good in my life, things I'm thankful for, things that I want to be known for or that I am, but I don't always tell myself, like I'm a good person or I'm a good dad. And then, I'm thankful for my job and trying to focus in on that. And so I think that's a good exercise to start your day off. Just even if it's just a few things on your way to work, because your radio won't work. So you got to do something.
So when it cuts off, Get over your song ending and take a
I'm
moment.
sitting in the Starbucks drive-through, but and just thinking about, okay, what is good in my life? And again, I know it's relative, but you still have good things. We tend to think our lives are worse than they are.
Yeah.
No matter where you're at on the spectrum, we always tend to think they're worse than they are.
Yeah.
And so I dare to say, your life is better than you think it is.
That's
and
good.
try to focus on that.
That's good. Okay, so with our July 4th follow-up here, this or that question today.
Okay.
If you had to choose a bill, a dollar bill, any amount, the 1, 10, 1, 5, 10, 20, 50,
Don't forget about the 2.
2 doesn't count anymore.
Okay.
Which dollar bill would you want your face on?
Oh, easy. $20 bill.
20.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll get a Y in a second.
Yeah.
$1 bill.
Okay.
You're worth more than that, Montana.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you.
Chase?
I think a 50.
50?
Yeah.
That would have been my last choice.
Really?
Yeah.
No, 10 would be my last choice.
What?
10's just like, what is a 10?
What is a 10?
That's true.
You either need
How
a 5
often
or you
do we
need a
use
20.
10?
You don't need a 10.
Yeah.
But like a 50 is kind of rare too. It's like,
That's
Yeah.
true. It's
then we
rare.
go from 20 to 100.
Yeah,
but
if
a
you're
50 is
going
that
for
kinda
rarity.
Cool
See, I
bill,
was
you know?
going for most exposed. Like,
For sure.
I feel like a 20
20,
is
yeah.
used more than anything else. So I'd want my face
I
on
think
a
a
20.
dollar.
I was
Oh,
just
really?
going for simplicity.
See, a dollar, I always think a dollar is kind of like crumbled up in your pocket.
I think that's why I like it. It's kind of like, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't have
Wow.
that much value, but it's like
Wow.
still
There's some
significant
really
in the long
deep
run.
stuff there that we need to unpack in counseling next week.
Okay.
So.
Sure.
Good.
Well, what we want to know from you too, wherever you're seeing this, what bill would you want to be on? 1, 5, 10, 20, 50, 100? Or Montana wants to throw a bonus $2 bill if you want to be
Really mix
not
things
used,
up.
not made anymore, whatever, kept in someone's drawer.
What's special?
Crazy girl.
They were.
Special.
Do you have a $2 bill?
No.
I have
And
like
think,
5 of them.
I think it's actually
Silver
a
dollar.
myth
Silver
that
dollar.
they're not being produced. I think they are being produced.
They're not.
No, I think that they are.
Why do you think they're being
I think
produced?
it's like a
conspiracy?
Do you
yeah.
have any data whatsoever to back
No.
that up?
Not right now,
Thanks.
but
Yeah,
I
okay.
could.
Get back to us on that.
I'll get back to you.
Get back to us. Well, thank you for joining us for Signs of Life. Make sure you subscribe, share this episode with somebody, and we'll see you next week right here.